go to discount. But then I wanted to also bring just a quick segue from this. Zbu ulonchile more fire drinks.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, he had his whole hoorah this week as well, and then people was bringing his business dealings in music.
Yeah.
As a hore kamsapota kamonana, you know, because kamonana no najabatu or well, it's alleged or najabatu. He's holding the rights to people's music, and when I was discussing it Limochu during the week, and they brought up the whole music thing, I was like, yo, on the music side it's business.
It is business.
On the music side it's business, because we don't know the contracts. Number one, we don't know whether Zbu is owed money.
You see, the sad part
on those catalogs.
The sad part about these independent music labels, record labels, the black-owned independent music labels, is that they come into the industry, right, with contracts that are in line with what the rest of the industry is doing.
Yeah.
Your Sonys, your Universals, your Atlantic, your Columbias, right? These are standard contracts with a few, you know, nuances here and there, you know. But these are standard industry contracts. But because there was a black man that came and did it and started a company of his own and started signing artists with the same standard contract that you would have received anywhere else. Yeah. You want to come and attack me personally?
Yeah, and then the expectation became different because the ownership profile was different.
Black.
But I was doing business based on industry best
norms and best practices.
Yes. That's why when I was discussing it with the homie, I was like, what who was doing on the music side was business. Or when he was discussing Pro, the Catula Gap Pro came after Pro. Then I was like, yo, what if Pro owed Zbu money?
But even if... You see, that's the part I don't understand, because as a label owner or as a label exec, I would want that music on the streaming platform so I can recoup.
You can recoup.
Yeah. So I don't understand why. I really don't understand albums that are not on the streaming platforms. I don't know why they're doing that.
Unless maybe the contract in terms of the royalties. Let's say if that guy owed you, right? Because how the contract maybe would be is that when the royalties get paid out, they get paid out to the artist, right?
Okay.
They get paid out. They don't get paid out to the artist.
Well, it depends on the type of royalty.
Yeah.
But the streaming royalty would go to the labels.
Would go to the label
They
to distribute to the artist.
Yeah, and then
because I thought they go to,
and then the artist gets they cut.
They cut from the label.
Yeah, because the streaming is part of the it's part of the composition and the recording. And that the label owns that.
Yeah, like the homie saying the owner of the masters cannot along.
Yeah, the copyright of the recording. I mean, not the
Oh.
The copyright in the recording goes to the label, right? The copyright in the composition goes to the publisher.
It would be interesting to hear Zbu's side on this. You know, that's okay. Because now it seems like him keeping the music off the streaming platforms was vindictive. Okay, because that's how people make it seem. Okay, when I keep the music, yeah, brown dash, yeah, pro, okay, baskaja.
Ah.
That's the narrative. That's the narrative.
Shooting himself in the foot too.
That's also shooting. That's
why I don't understand. I really didn't understand why
they kept it off the platform.
Why would you not put these albums? Because this is you recouping your costs. But I'm almost certain that his side of the story is going to include the side of the story of many other record labels that, you know, I closed you. You know, I put you in a whip.
Lance.
I'll put you in a house. You know, this entire time you've been living off me, that wasn't free. This is your bill. This is what you've recouped. This is how much you still owe me.
I need my money.
And that's our contract.
Yeah.
I need my money.
That's our contract.
Business, bro.
You know, that's just the business.
And with me, when I was looking at Zbu's launch, and people trying to mix the two, okay, how are you going to support this nigga Anaja Labato music? Music, I can support Zbu, come on.
Yeah, in fact, it's just going back to
support Zbu everywhere.
Yeah. Just going to your the streaming or non-streaming or whatever, because I was looking for Dux's first album because he was under Kero Ruff.
Oh, with Lanson.
Yeah, so Dux was under Kero Ruff, then Abaho Taso, Impact Music. So Morafe entire catalog is with
Tuxes.
No, it's with Get Rough, but it's not on streaming platforms.
Murafe.
Yeah. Murafe and Dukes, they are not.
Yeah, Murafe is not on streaming.
Is it there now?
It's not. It's not.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
not. I looked for it. It's not.
Yes, it's not there. Dukes Mafuku Ame is not on streaming platforms.
Murafe is not on streaming.
In fact, the first two albums that Dukes
Get Rough was launched, ne?
yeah. So MC Prayer, Mafuku Ame is not on streaming platforms. If you want to hear, or like there are some artists that I know personally.
Marapula kya?
I think.
Yeah, kya?
On
I
Spotify?
was looking for them
On
the other
Spotify,
check this out, man.
Marapula, the anticipation.
Oh, is it?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's on.
But
it's recent. Though. It's a recent.
You just discovered it.
Anticipation.
Yeah, 2004. It's on.
So I think sometimes what happens is that, and this is just my hypothesis, is that in these platforms, for you to make something available, there must be agreement between narrowly two. So it's like I need you but I hate you. Ne? Yes, if we both agree, we'll both make money. But if we are not finding each other, fuck you. So the artist could either say, I do want to make money out of this thing,
So fuck it.
But Lance owns
The master.
the recording.
Because
So Lance
My
can
signature
continue
still wants
with
it.
it whatever he pleases. It's his.
What if it's
then it doesn't make sense. That's what this thing then doesn't make sense, because then why is it not? I still feel like it's one of those where, yes, one might get a bigger portion. I still feel like maybe one needs the other, like the signature. I don't know.
Let me walk back that statement. He can't do whatever he pleases with it, right? But he can sell the recording.
Okay.
You understand? He can sell the recording. So I can put it on any platform to sell the recording. I can't score it. But I can
film or whatever.
Yeah, but I can sell that product
to make money?
I recorded it. It's mine.
So I'm asking,
and then I pay you. It's like doing an assignment for varsity when you're doing a year-end assignment and it ends up being, you know, the fine print will tell you that the IP belongs to the
university. So
because you use my resources to produce this work.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
From a layman's point of view, everybody will tell you Dukes' first album is one of the best hip hop albums.
It makes sense to put it on.
So I'm saying, Lance has been told,
put it on.
And from hearing that, you know that this is money. Every time somebody asks me this, that's somebody saying, like a 50 rand.
Why?
So why isn't this shit on? Lance on the issues.
Or you could find that maybe the nature of the contract is such that
both need to.
Again, that's the hypothesis that I was putting with. There is no way that one of these parties has the power to act outside of the other while making money.
Both need to sign them off.
That's what I was saying.
Or it can more.
But now if we don't find each other, fuck you, it's fuck you. Like we are both losing
and
money.
maybe in situation as maybe if we're taking your hypothesis, or let's say fuck, I don't want it on because now it's boot closure. And maybe we beefing. But now since Mfana passed away, it's a lady idea Boot now can act.
Yes.
And put
that's
it on
some evil shit if you don't want me to eat.
Yeah.
Even at the expense of you not eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like how evil you gotta be.
Yeah,
I don't want to believe that part.
Yeah, it's just that the narrative now. The narrative paints Boo as the one, as the evil one.
Yeah, no, I don't want to go with that.
Yeah. I want to hear Boo's side. I'm so curious to hear on the side. Yes, Boo as the record label owner. Yeah,
it's correct.
Yeah, as the record label owner, Alright, guys.
Let me do a stop.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break.
All right.
No, because load shedding tells us at 12 we're gonna load shed. So
pause here, guys.
So my thing is this, is that there's the hard work and then there's the easy work.
Might as well take advantage.
Sure.
it's not that Basadi have a rape with South Africa.
Mm.
It's just that to prove it is hard work.
Mm.
For men, it's easy for a man to say, people are hating on my success, and that's why they're accusing me of this thing. Because there's no hard work required for him to prove his innocence. So whenever there's a dispute between a label and an artist, I always feel like the artist has an audience because people listen to the artist. So the shell that bodies my work is the artist. I don't listen to the label.
You listen to the
So
artist
because the label does not have a mouthpiece
to speak their side.
the public sympathy.
Falls. No, I pause. I thought we paused.
No, I said Mr. do stop start so that even if it goes off, we
Oh.
still have the recording at the last. So what I'm saying is that believing an artist is always going to be the easy work. Because believing an artist is wanting to believe the man. Because the man says there was no evidence. You get my point? But the woman is the label.
Because Hannah,
Because
it's hard to prove.
yeah, because the label says if a woman goes out now and says there's no repeal, we understand there's going to be public sympathy. I believe her. I can keep moving. I believe her.
Yeah.
Now a man is like, what do I do?
It's so hard.
So whenever there's a dispute between a label and an artist, because effectively, even though I thought the parallel is far-fetched, is the artist saying I was raped? So that's what we are dealing with. So every time there's a dispute between artists, an artist says I was raped, and we believe the artist. That's what's happening. Every time a label, an artist says "Kajewa," that's rape. We are saying, let's believe the artist.
Yeah, that's why we sided with MT. That's why we sided with Fifi Cooper. We demonized
the
Ambitious, the label. But the label could have clearly easily came up with a contract.
So because I mean it's a business venture.
It's a business, bro.
It's a business venture. If I'm saying that,
that's nigga.
You know, you have some promise. You know, you show some promise. I'd like to invest in you.
I'm betting.
Yeah, I'd like to financially back your
ambition.
Your ambition, right? I'm going to give you everything that you need in order to make sure that your talent is heard by
everyone. Yeah,
everyone, right? And at the time at which you sign the deal, you don't have anything.
And next. So obviously
you can't even get into a joint venture. Sorry, Des. You can't even get into a joint venture.
You've got no assets.
You're not partners.
On the next.
You're not partners. This guy is your financier, right? And he says that I will give you 20%, right? Even 20. Right? I'll give you 20% of the proceeds from
this shit pops off. Yeah.
If this thing pops off. Yeah. When we happen to make 100 million rand, and you only walk away with 20.
Oh. It looks unfair.
It looks so unfair.
And I got 80. It looks unfair, right?
Yeah.
It looks very unfair.
The optics of it look unfair.
Yeah. But wouldn't you have made that 100 million
without me?
If it was not
wouldn't have.
You wouldn't
at all.
You wouldn't have.
But
at all.
So now when you go and squander that 20 million rand, for example, that maybe came over a period of 5 years, when you go and chow it, yeah? The optics then say, if he had a larger portion of this 100 million, he wouldn't still be broke. Because then he'd still have money that came from the sweat from his brow, which is his work.
Which is not true.
Right? It could be. But that's not the argument.
That's not the contention.
Yeah, right? Yeah. He'd still have money if he had more share in, you know. But bro, if I'm the primary investor, why? There's a line there, Pusha T, right? He says, why would I ever 50-50 you and half of me?
Yeah, my nigga. Why would I 50-50? Why would I do that?
What did you come in with?
Yeah.
You came with nothing, B.
You came in with nothing.
So that it can be 50-50.
You came with...
It's not a matter of equals.
We didn't feel like a talent.
Hey, the only thing that you had to do was make music, which you would have made either way without me.
Yes. But I came through...
And this here, what you're doing is, this is your passion, your love.
But I came through and Guy shiny said Diamond did.
So
I gotta recoup.
But you see, when it
I
comes
gotta recoup.
from a sentimental point of view, then when it comes to the complaint, the inverse is true. So the 80-20 principle. So 80% of the time when the artist complains, the sentiment goes to the artist
Because we love the artist's work. We love it. Yeah. I just look at the art. I look at MTV. I love Roll Up or that song that he did.
I think it's because,
and I'm like, he needs to succeed.
Yeah,
I love
because
this nigga.
we know that the nature of the contract is fucked up, right? And even if it's not 50-50, I think we can all agree that those splits
are fucked up to begin with.
Yeah, are not fair.
Yeah.
Even if all he's doing is bringing the music.
Yeah.
That's the product.
That's the product.
That's the product, right? In which other industry do you know where the producer of the product
is the one
gets getting the least?
Gets fucked by the retailer?
Yes.
Huh? Are the farmers getting fucked by?
No.
They make the most in that
chain. They make the most in the value chain, bro.
My nigga, I sell it to you, and which was what Joey was saying. He was saying that when they were talking about the cost of a street, and he said, I would like to meet the nigga that set this price. How are you setting a price for something that you did not make? I set the price for you, nigga. I tell you how much this shit is worth.
Cost me.
Because I make this shit.
I made it.
And I gotta recoup.
Yeah, and I gotta recoup. I keep niggas 3 hours on a podcast.
Yeah, I made it. So how you gonna tell me, or an industry tell me how much this thing is worth when I'm the one that sat here for 3 hours of my life twice a week?
Yeah. And the way he made it sound is as if, you know, they were just pricing it just a little bit above how you would price a streaming something 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they was just trying to give him just a little bit just above that. But he's like, yo, I keep niggas here for 3 hours, bro.
Away from their family, their wives.
I keep niggas on your platform for 3 hours.
And we listen to the last
And we listen to the last hour, bro.
Yeah.
I gotta get paid for that.
Yeah,
I gotta get paid for that.
Those splits, I don't really agree with. I'm of the opinion that if you're gonna take a lot from the sales royalty, right? Even if we were to make it 80-20, right? You need to give me more splits in other avenues.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like those 360s.
Yeah. So that I can at least eat off, you know.
The tour.
Yeah. I remember when I was still doing the
artist management.
The sound course. I did a sound course. Go Academy of Sound, right? And there was a lawyer guy that was lecturing us there. He was saying that when you're negotiating a contract, it's a give and take. You know, you say, okay, these are the splits on the sales royalty, right? Yeah. What do those splits look like with the shows? What do those splits look like with the publishing? What do those splits look like with the sign-on bonus? You know, so we can say, you can go in the boardroom saying that actually I want 40%, and the company says, nah, we'll only give you 30, right? So what you should be doing is saying, okay, I'll take 30.
Yeah.
Right? I'll take 30 on the condition that instead of 100K, you give me 300,000 Rand as a bonus. You understand? Like there's a
give and take.
So that you let him go of that 10.
You get compensated.
And I'm just making an example because even that 200,000 won't be enough to cover for that 10 that you let him go. It could be a hell of a lot more money. Yeah. You know, but that's how you need to.
And it's a risk that you take.
Yeah, you need to look at what all the splits look like, what all the revenue streams look like
across the board,
and see where they can make concessions, because more often than not, with the sales royalty, you're gonna get the least, because the copyright in the recording, you still have to pay the studio time. There's the engineer,
and if I'm dragging those guys,
there's the producer, there's the people that print the CDs. Everything. Everybody gets paid before you get paid last.
Yeah.
So Katula, out of 100 Rand, you're only gonna get $14 or $5 out of $100 because everybody needs to get paid before you come in. Yeah. And those people that are getting paid are probably not even getting paid on a ongoing basis. But they had to get paid. We're not gonna last. Right, and it's because you're going to earn last that you get given an advance.
Yeah.
So hold this.
Mm.
Because by the time your money comes through,
Mm.
it'll be late. Right? So hold this. But then now, when the money that you owed from the company,
they need to recoup,
is less than the advance that we gave you, then ain't no money coming your way.
Nothing.
There's nothing coming your way.
That's why.
Then the album, that's why it's important. That's why a lot of the time the artists will complain about the label didn't push my album enough. Because I could have recouped because the album didn't sell at the rate that it should have. The marketing team needs to be behind me so that my album sells, so that I can recoup sooner, so that I can start making money sooner. But now I'm broke because nobody cared about my album at the end.
I want to get that's why because then it becomes the inverse when the talent becomes so successful beyond his imagination, beyond the label's imagination. You know what I'm saying? Like with MT, like homie blew up huge. You know what I'm saying? But then when it's time to sit down, it looks so.
Yeah, you need to renegotiate. You need to look at your contract. This is when it ends. Am I resigning? If I'm gonna resign, these are my terms.
And it becomes so difficult because sometimes when these boys sign on, they sign on for, let's say, like 4 album deals, right? The first one is a smash, and you kind of feel like it's that at that point I need to renegotiate. But you signed for 4 albums.
But I feel like in this day and age,
you signed for 4 albums.
In this day and age, you should not be signing on for more than 2.
Yeah,
especially with the amount of information that's out in the industry right now. You can't be signing contracts for more than 2 albums.
Yeah,
4 albums.
Yeah, I think it's sitting down with 4 albums down, bro.
Nah. In fact, I would say 1 album deal.
Yeah.
1 album deals.
Because your value changes, bro. Your value changes.
And if you have access to money, JVs.
Joint ventures.
So this was a nice segue. So our director tapes on Romantic. So the message, it's a post from Bongisi Melane. So Bongisi Melane is actually an artist with 5th Season. I don't know if she still sings.
Kind of 5th Season, aka Benza.
No. What's her vocalist? You might get vocalist.
Benza got vocalist.
Yeah, vocalist.
Oh my God! So and homie is up next.
Yeah, he's up next.
Homie is the next one.
So Bongisi Melane, wasn't her name Vulan? Yeah. She was, ne?
She's married.
She's married now. Okay. My one wish for the music industry is for it to become increasingly difficult for record labels to thieve from artists. Do you want me to read the conversation as well after that? And then our director about music contracts are the first problem. They cannot be understood by a layman. They are written in confusing language and there are far too many elements to keep track of. Even seasoned musicians struggle to understand some of these contracts without seeking legal advice. This should not be the case. Think of it this way. How many people have needed to consult with the lawyer before signing an employment contract?
You don't.
No, but I don't think that the music contracts are deliberately being made to be complicated. I think all contracts are like that, right? Because when the contract of employment comes, like, be honest, right? I'm sure there's very few of us here that read through that shit with a fine.
My nigga, I didn't read that shit. My nigga, I'm getting employed. I'm signing.
Yeah. You understand? But there are people that will read it. You know, and there'll be certain. You just want to know if it adheres to the Employment Equity Act.
Yeah.
You know, you want to know what your remuneration is, leave and the benefits. You know, but you're not gonna go and read all the other stuff like the social media policies. And all of that stuff that could come back to bite you. Right. But I do think, admittedly so, that the employment contracts are a lot simpler from what I've seen. Right? Yes. But contracts,
commercial contracts,
generally, are complicated things to read.
Yeah, they fuck.
Go read your insurance. Go read your insurance contract.
Which you still sign.
Yeah.
Which you did sign.
Yeah, the police.
So
the police.
and this is
go read that shit.
This is an important discussion, because we are so quick to always say to people, don't sign the fine print, but we never talk about the narrative of who has ever challenged the fine print and succeeded.
But here's where the difference is, because the contract that the artist is signing is not the same contract that I'm signing.
Uh-huh.
I understand that when I sign onto a company, I am signing onto a company to be an employee of that company.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning I'm signing
Your
over my rights.
Your time.
Yeah, I'm signing over my right. Like
Yeah.
this is what we know this.
You sell over your rights.
Yes, but where anywhere else would you find a businessman getting into a contractual relationship with another businessman when neither of those businessmen take those contracts back to their lawyers?
Yeah.
Because this is a material impact. They are this is my IP. It's my IP. The businessman won't go in there and just sign
his
the
IP
contract.
away.
Yeah.
He's gonna take that contract away, and somebody's gonna go through that shit
with a fine-tooth comb.
Yes, and he's gonna send it back to say this is where we recommend
Different
changes.
changes.
that the adjustment should be. So the artist is the businessman too,
Yes.
because you're not being signed as an employee. This is not an insurance contract that you sign.
You are signed as a creator of a product.
Exactly. So now you're supposed to, because even if you're not investing, and even though it's not a joint venture in the true sense of the word, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
It kind of is a joint venture. So you're supposed to take that contract and treat it very seriously, because the repercussions that could have to your life 10, 20 years from now are fucking great.
But there are fundamental differences and similarities. So I think the contract lays the responsibility on an artist to become a business person. But an employment contract does not place the same responsibility on you as an employee. So what I'm trying to say is that if I'm an average 23-year-old, you are 23, you've just graduated. But I said, my form of earning income is going to be from my talent. It's unfortunate that my talent requires me, for it not to bite me in the ass, requires me to be already of sound business acumen. And happy the difference when you sign an employment contract is that you are not a business unit. In other words, the company does not track, it just tracks roles and responsibilities, but it does not say us having Des in this company makes us 13 million. But when you're an artist, you also automatically become a business unit. We can say the first day we had Des, we made 15 million out of him. But we don't say Des's job is when we say he must be at stage at 8, which is your clocking, our report. So we may not necessarily measure performance success at Des by the commercial value, but by the things we expect of him to do, because we believe from what we expect him to do, the commercial value automatically comes. So we are saying, if I say Des comes at work at 8, the likelihood that he's going to be productive. If he has to send or honor a deadline, but if the company doesn't make money, you still make your 25,000 a month.
Yeah, which is why I'm saying it's not the same. I'm also saying the same. I'm saying it's not the same. But even though you're the same age as Dead, right? As an artist in 2020, you need to understand that your circumstances are different.
Yeah.
This is not an employment contract that you're signing.
Yeah.
And I find it really hard to overlook or excuse you.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes
to excuse you for the oversight, because you're not gonna know everything.
But
you're not going to know everything. But
because
you
these kids are young, bro.
You didn't do any research. You didn't do any research. I remember and I don't know if this has anything to do with it. It might not. I remember somebody online was saying that Aubrey was saying that when we were doing assignments, we used to go to the library and print shit out of encyclopedias trying to put together assignments. right?
How are
now
you
the
all
kids of
feeling
today on Google, you know, like there's so
Yeah.
much information. There's so much information, and it made me think that did us going to the library to collect all that information entrench a sense of research culture in us that the young kids might not necessarily have? Because the information is there for you.
On the
bro.
fingertips, bro.
The
Google.
information is there for you. The circumstances are different. The circumstances are different, and in fact, I might even, as an employee, I might even have a harder time finding the information that I need than you as an artist would, because the artist information is not as broad. It's a niche lane of information. You won't have to go far to find the information that you need. You can just Google some keywords and you'll have pointers telling you what are the things that you need to be looking for in a contract.
Yeah.
It's that easy. It takes less than 10 seconds.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with you completely. But what I'm trying to say is that take away the artist. Let's say, how many people, and I would venture to say maybe it's the majority, get a job offer with a salary, and they don't influence the amount to move from 100 to 110 because
You accept it.
psychologically, the fact that I'm even offered, then somebody says, what's 110? I'm like, bro, I came from 0.
I don't
because
have any.
I felt that asking for 10, then even the entire opportunity goes away.
I understand that. I understand that, right? But after I leave the company,
Yeah.
my relationship with that company is done. My relationship with that company is done. But when I leave a record label, I'm gonna be dealing with those people for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Because you signed yourself up for 4 albums or whatever.
No, even if
IP.
I've given them 4 albums,
Oh.
You're giving them
It's
IP,
theirs.
bro.
right? I'm still gonna be dealing with that record company for the rest of my life. For as long as those albums that I made with them are selling,
Yeah,
there's still
intertwined.
some money that they still gonna need to send me on.
And the inevitable happened.
Gone.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a mainly lead.
There's still
Yeah, but we'll use
there's still some money that they're still gonna need to send me. Why not? So my relationship with that company doesn't die. But as an employee, as soon as I resign, it's done.
Yeah.
How's more copper?
Yeah. Fili.
Understand that? And that's the difference. And I understand why they might be so compelled to sign on so easily because of the background that they come of, like Balabi, you know. And
You ain't got shit, bro. You ain't got shit.
But what I can tell you is these talented artists that these labels that have their ear to the streets find are people that have been trying to break into the music industry for quite a while.
Yeah.
So they had the time to
Understand?
They have to.
So if you're in your back room here with your little keyboard, making your little beats and doing your little recordings, God created some here on the wall as soundproofing. If you could do that,
you can
get on the internet and get some information.
Yeah.
But I've got a dichotomy because I agree with you and I disagree with you. Because I think the nature of a creative is to be non-commercial.
No, but
it's drawing blood out of a stone for you to expect me to be commercial.
You see, when I speak about a creative, I'm not speaking about a Zahara. Zahara came into the game as a Gabi Foko.
She didn't know shit. She could only sing.
She could just sing.
She could just
Right.
sing. That's
But if I'm looking at a boy that doing com,
Piano, yeah.
Montville or piano somewhere at Ridge, whatever.
Cooking beats, bro.
Understand?
Every day.
Yeah. These boys that are making beats are tech savvy boys.
Yeah.
Very texted.
They're tech savvy boys,
Very
right?
texted.
And they know who are the big artists in the game. And they follow publications that come out about the music industry.
They do.
So when an artist gets fucked,
they know.
They know.
They should know.
They know.
They know, and they know the nature of that fallout. They know how that fallout happened because it's right there in the article. I remember some boy when Khumuzu was still rapping, there was some beat that we were trying to get from this kid, Wasowet, and that beat was crazy. Crazy. And
dope ass beat.
Yeah, right? And we wanted to buy this beat.
From him.
But he didn't have the separates. Right? He didn't have the separates to the beat. Right? You understand what I mean by
you separate the bass, the composition. Everything is separated.
Yeah, right. So he wanted to sell us an MP3 file
of the full beat.
It's a bad. You can't cut that shit out.
Yeah. And you can't chop and change it.
Yeah, right. So we're saying because you don't have the separates to the beat, this is just an MP3 file. This is how much we're going to give.
The amount is going to go down.
The amount is going to go down because there's very little that I can do with this beat.
Yeah.
You're not allowing any flexibility.
I can't even add in my own elements to the beat because
to make it better or whatever.
Yeah, so this is how much we're going to give you, and he took the stance of us trying to fuck him, and he understands how cutthroat the industry is. He's not going to be sold off short like that and whatnot, which I commended him for, but I feel like he had tried to apply that in a place where it
didn't apply.
Yeah, it didn't apply.
He was already woke.
It's just that he applied it in the wrong environment.
Wrong environment, but he was already woke. Yeah. So every time when I have these young kids coming in saying that they didn't know, my nigga, there's a lot of kids out there that are making music that we don't know about.
Right now, you're supposed to know.
They know.
In this day and age, you're supposed to know.
You're supposed to know. You might not know what contracts are, but you know. You've seen what other artists have gone through.
Yeah.
Right. You've spent your entire life being a fan of Muggs and hearing through the grapevine that the only reason that Muggs can't release an album of his own is because he owes Lance.
Yeah.
What does that make you feel like?
Yeah.
What do you think from that every time you have to go sign your entire IP over to a company? Do you not think of that? Is this not something that you've been pondering on the whole time you've been making beats at the back of your fucking home? All these years? Come on, bro.
Come on. You're a fan of Wayne. You know what Wayne is going.
You know what Wayne went through.
You know what Wayne is going. You're a fan of this nigga. You know. You read everything that is out there about Wayne. You know about his squabbles with the Birdman. You know. Contracts. Yeah. I'm gonna happen. I'm gonna kill. That's why yeah. I wanted to talk about because when those advances come, bro, when those promises come, bro, you can get clouded, bro. You get clouded because MT Leonona Olabua and find out, okay, yo, these niggas were telling me intro. These niggas are telling me Mercedes. These niggas are telling me
those Mercedes.
Two. You know what I'm saying? He didn't own them, but they came with the contract. Or we find out what drive. Okay. I say how, but we allow you to stay in there.
You have access to it.
You have access. Yeah,
I hate it, but and I think I'm in the same place as you are, the dichotomy, right? But it's just that I find it very hard to forgive the artist all the way. Because here's the other thing. Besides you having been the tech-savvy person and having had access to all these media, informational publications, more often than not, before you blow, the previous year or two you have spent in studio or in social circles with artists that are established. You've been rubbing shoulders with these guys.
So you have access to information.
You have access to
You've been rubbing shoulders with your Questas, the AKAs, or whoever. Right? You've been meeting each other in studios. You've been having conversations with these people. You've been bumping into them in the VIP section.
And they tell you their stories,
Before you blow up, because you don't blow up from the back room.
No, you don't.
Somebody comes to fetch you from the back room
and brings you
to Joburg. See what it is that we can do. We go to the events, couple of performances here and there, rub shoulders with Tabang and these, people and his friends and whatnot. You get to meet the who's, the promoters, the producers, the artists, the managers, and you have conversations with these people.
What contract?
By the time you sit down to put your signature on the dotted line, you've had 12 to 24 months of interaction of people in the industry that are getting fucked, probably at a lesser extent, or just as you. And you're still gonna sign blindly like they did.
Funny enough, the person that actually did follow that, because I know him personally, and Casper.
Yeah.
Casper didn't fall prey to that.
Yeah.
And he's been rubbing shoulders with.
That's why I'm mentioning
for a very long
Jabba.
time.
He listened to you, he was like, artistically, Jabba is my superior. But I feel like commercially, I make better decisions than him.
Yeah, that boy Tseho. Tseho was running with Family Tree for a long time, but his first album.
With who?
Tseho.
He was running with who?
Family Tree, Casper's label.
Yes, yes.
But his first album came with Universal. First album to label Universal,
And
because
he
was able to
the entire album himself.
Yeah, and he was able to see you right. I know Jashabi.
So I find it really hard to excuse niggas from.
Yeah, at this day and age,
yeah.
At this day and age, you should know.
I was spending on.
Yeah.
It's not like we got you from
nowhere,
from oblivion somewhere where you didn't know absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because if I went to fetch you, unless if the person that went to fetch you from the back room signed you immediately, so that by the time you're rubbing shoulders with people, I already have you locked into a contract.
Yeah.
The Dojo.